Hello, everyone. Of course, I am joining early as usual, and because I just wanted to make sure that I have time for everyone who is backstage. So, for those of you who are tuning in early, I wanted to reiterate the purpose of this opportunity. I have noticed that there isn't a lot of support for people out there, whether people who are going through layoffs or people who simply cannot afford coaching or people who are not ready to make a tremendous investment for coaching. So I decided to come up with this idea where people can hop on my podcast and pick my brain. And also because it has gotten very exhausting for me, to be honest, to have too many one on one conversations. And I just want to be fair to everyone. And this is such a great way because answering someone's question may end up helping thousands of people who may have the same question. And this is why I have this forum for people. Think of it almost like the Oprah Winfrey for careers, where you can be my guest in a safe space and ask me questions. For those of you who are backstage, you're going to be listening to each other, basically engaging with me on stage. A small request that I would really appreciate is if you want to be part of the conversation, just make sure that you're not sending or you're not engaging in the private chat, but rather in the comments. Just click on the comments icon at the very top, and that is going to enable everyone who's tuning in to be able to see your questions and see your participation. That way, everyone benefits. Okay, wonderful. And hey, AC, how's it going? Very nice to see you. Folks, to encourage people also who are on stage, if you're tuning in, participate in the conversation in the comments. It's always, tough for people to be vulnerable and it's a big move for people to actually be on stage and ask me questions. So let's encourage them, show your support. If you're struggling with the same issues, share with us in the chat. If you have ideas or advice, I always welcome that. Engage in the chat. Those type of things are extremely helpful. Not only do they benefit, the people on stage, but it also benefits you because studies have shown when you teach people, you actually learn better. And lastly, it will help this podcast get found. I'm obviously doing this pro bono because I love doing this. I love helping people. And it's hard to get the word out when people are not engaging. Thank you, Judy. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. All right. And for those of you who are tuning in into YouTube, that's awesome. All right. Our first guest is going to be Daniel. Daniel, you are on stage. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Good, good. Very lovely to see you.
Yeah, you too. Happy to be here.
Yeah. So tell us, how can we help? What are your questions? Why don't you share with us?
So yeah, I think the biggest thing is I'm switching from more of a scientific background to software. So that's been like a training process and learning the ropes, but also like how to actually break into the industry once I have some of the skills. So that's where I'm at now is upskilling still, but also like, all right, what do I do with a certificate or with my skills? How do I display it? How do I show, some of my former experience, actually helps me with this and be able to link the two and show that I'm not just, a brand new employee that doesn't know, how to do whatever, whatever it takes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that question because we have a lot of, career transitioners who face the same thing where they're experienced professionals. And just because they're transitioning into a new career doesn't mean that they have to start over, right? So, why don't you tell us a little bit of the story behind what got you interested in going into the software development space? And what specifically about the software development space that, gets you excited that you want to be part of?
Okay, yeah. So I was working on a project at school for I was studying algae and I was looking for a gene in the algae, a specific gene. And I realized like having some kind of coding knowledge would have helped me do that search a lot better. So I was kind of
Wow.
stuck, and I was like sifting through a lot of information that was difficult to go through by hand. So I realized right there, I was like, all right, I think I need to learn some of these languages somehow, create a program or find a program that could go through this for me. And I just realized like in myself, like, all right, well, I'm missing something that could really help me with this part of my life, but also in the future. Um, when there's a situation that's similar, I would be able to, you know, tackle it a little better with a little more advanced technology. Seems like that's where the future was headed. So I was like, all right, let me get on board.
That's awesome. So, did you end up building that algorithm in order to help you with your research?
No, I actually didn't. I left school a little bit after that. I ran into more problems that weren't even related to that part of it. It was completely different. Most of my algae got contaminated with something.
Oh, dear.
We could never figure out what it was, and it wiped out a lot of it, and it just set me back too much time to be able to like continue with the project. So I left that on hold, and it was sad, but I had to work a lot more outside of school. So it just the timing kind of put me back as far as school. I had to just get back to work and work full
Hmm.
time. It just kind of the sequence of events just really didn't work out for me.
I hear you. You know, we've all been hit by life circumstances that make it super challenging for us to do the things that we want to do more of, right? I can definitely relate to that when I was in the corporate world. My heart was into wanting to spend more time on particular projects, but due to decisions in the organization or just my circumstances, I'd get thrown away into projects that I didn't enjoy. So I hear you on that one. Just to dig a little bit deeper, because I'm still curious about this whole thing with you being a scientist. I mean, you were studying biology and you were drawn into basically figuring out, what's going on in nature. Did you end up doing any kind of scripting or code, or not really?
I went into a development boot camp, so just
Hmm.
full stack development, just to like get the full range of the different kinds of web development that's out there, different technologies, platforms, everything, like to try to see like where do I fit into this, what do I enjoy. Um, but yeah, I didn't really do anything that connected the two, like where I
Hmm.
was taking what I learned and trying to do something that I was originally looking forward to doing. Um, so yeah, I kind of backed off the like finding an algorithm or something to help me with my research. I just started to become interested in coding all around,
Got
and,
it.
and then kind of let that take control and take me to where I'm at now.
Got it. That makes sense. So where do you envision yourself? I mean, if you had a magic wand and you could do whatever you want, um, what would it be?
Yeah, so I'd like to. One thing I really need in my life is like a work life balance. So I need time to be home. I'd like a remote job. That would be probably like a priority for me. Is that the wand would probably give me a remote job. And the big thing is like a company with good people, a good mission, culture, all that stuff is really like what I've found lacking in my life is looking up the ladder and seeing like, all right, is this all going in the same direction? Is this in a direction that I'm aligned with, or is
Mhm.
this just a job and it's not really taking me anywhere new, or am I growing and any of that. So uh, something that's a challenge that offers growth. Um, yeah, I mean it's not a particular industry, but it's more of like philosophy. I'm into environmental issues, so
Okay.
something something that helps in that area, you know. So like when I do, go into coding, I kind of like I pick out those kind of organizations to try to work for. It'd be like a nature conservancy or world wildlife, somewhere where I'm like, okay, this is, now I feel good because I'm doing this work and it's part of a bigger picture. So yeah, that's what the wand would give you. It's kind of a
Well,
uh,
that's a very general. I'm still not. You're still not telling me. I feel like there's a little bit of fear, almost like you're not really telling me specifically what is that big dream and what it's going to be. Like if I just gave you $50 million and said, "Here's 50 million, how are you going to spend it?" I mean, it's going to be more than buying my friends gifts. Like, how are you going
yeah,
to live your life? I just want to know because it seems to me like you're the kind of guy who's driven by providing some kind of service and value to people. So I'm interested in knowing, how do you enjoy helping people?
yeah. I think that would be um, more of like a lifestyle. Like probably, if it were just up to me and it wasn't like, all right, you have a job and you have these responsibilities, you got 50 million. Um, yeah, probably a farm, like an organic farm with raising fish, raising plants and animals,
Okay,
and
now we're talking. Keep
like
telling
so.
me more.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So more of like a healthy lifestyle.
Hmm,
Because I find it hard living where I live. I'm in Rhode Island in the U.S.
yeah,
and it's
beautiful place.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, I like it. It's just all these bills and taxes and everything, and it's like kind of a strange place to live where you get taxed for everything you can think of. Um, but it's like absent that, I'd like to be, sustaining myself, like not really just being a consumer and being able to like do environmental projects. So that's more of the passion part of me. I know it doesn't really give me the career I want, but it's like I want the career that sets me up for, you know, having that freedom on the outside to do my own thing.
And what is your own thing?
So, I mean, I have a river right near me that's been polluted since I was a kid and is always like a sore spot for me. It's a beautiful place. I love walking around the river, but it's been, it was destroyed over hundreds of years. And my part is like, I go and clean up trash at the river. I'll go down. I want to go in the river and take stuff out, but mostly just like small little pieces I can do, like bring a trash bag and go fill it up and toss it out. And I'd like to encourage other people to do that also, like small changes. You don't have to go change the world, but if like right around your area, you take care of a little piece, then if everybody's doing that, then it's all taken care of, you know. So that's the kind of stuff I would work on probably try to get that to grow into a bigger scale.
And what would be required to grow this into a bigger scale?
So I think like I will have to have like a decent income because this is like a nonprofit type of idea where it's like, donations and just people being invested in it mentally and as a cause. So I think it's not just a money issue. It's being able to get people to feel kind of an ownership of their own natural environment.
Hmm. Eric is sharing something interesting here that's been actually percolating in my mind. So here's what he's saying. He's saying, reminds me of what a few people are doing on social media that I've seen. Whole channels are built on scouring river bottoms and removing garbage from the bottom.
Yeah.
So that's how you would love to live your life, right? get a humongous, amount of people helping out with that sort of thing, so that there's more dent into, improving the environment, right? That's what I'm hearing. If it was up to
Yeah.
you. So, how did this idea of getting into software development, which to me seems a little bit contradictory, where you'd be in front of a computer screen for hours and hours and hours for
Yeah.
someone who is a nature lover? I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
unless I'm missing something here, help me
No,
understand.
no, I love being out. Like I've worked for the local Department of Environmental Management for years, and I just never never felt like like it was right, and just working for the state or whatever it was like it just wasn't like the what I wanted to do. It wasn't making the impact, and I wanted to make that like on my own outside of work. So I would have my work, have my career, make money from it, and then have my passion on the side, which is, I know, tough to not work in your original passion, but it's my way of like, this is a way I can make the money to make better change.
So, are you looking at development because you feel that's what's going to help you make money, or because you see there is some kind of connection that would help you succeed in this environmental initiative? Which one is it?
Yeah, I think it's a little of both. It's the money first. Like it's having
Okay.
like the extra income to
Got it. Got
affect
it.
my change. Yeah.
And I understand we all need to be practical to some extent. So Jeff is sharing something here as well. I love when people share advice. Consider San Antonio UT Health. They are on the forefront of biomedical science. It will be a great opportunity to develop and combine your skills. Thank you so much, Jeff, for sharing.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you're talking to someone who was stuck for a long time, ignoring my own passion and doing things for the purpose of practicality and wanting to, I was an immigrant. I came to a new country. So for me, I did not want to waste the fact that I was able to immigrate when it's such a tough thing for most people and go into a profession that is not going to help me come up with the finances to support myself when I have no backup or family support in the country. So I did the thing that you're talking about, where I would just take on jobs and pretend that I'm happy. And in the end, it just backfired on me, right? It got to the point where it didn't matter. I had money. I didn't have to worry about that. And it was just soul crushing. Okay. And then I got into a profession, I'll say career coaching, which a lot of people know is very saturated. Coaching, to get into coaching, like anyone who gets into coaching, it's not a multi-million dollar profession. It's people who do it, like who truly do it. They're not doing it because they want to make a ton of money. It's purely because they enjoy helping people. This is why I do these lives. I don't get paid for them. Um, but I have been able to combine sort of being sustainable and being able to help people. And the secret is you have to find that intersection of you doing something you absolutely enjoy and having a bigger purpose around it. And then all the nitty gritty things that you have to do in order to support that bigger vision is not going to feel as nitty gritty, right? So here's a little framework for everyone. Um, what you want to do, okay, is you want to be good at identifying what people want. And you got to think about it that way versus just thinking, oh, I just need to, if you're thinking at the back of my head, what is it that I can do that's going to make me money and give me work-life balance? You're not going to be able to succeed in whatever you're doing because people will pick up on that energy. Okay. So we gotta clarify what would help people. What is it that I could do that would help people? So for you, the big motivator is you want to change the environment, and that in itself can help people. So now you need to understand, how can I utilize something that is in demand that could also, support that vision? So when I asked you at the beginning about that algorithm, I asked you for a reason, because I see a completely missed out opportunity here that you kind of got distracted from. And I think you might want to consider making time for that.
Okay. Yeah.
I would, and like Eric said, how you can support that, big dream of having more people, get involved in your initiatives, is you could build, like a landing page, or you could build a website, and you could have social media posts that would support that and generate traffic to that. And that in itself could be an amazing portfolio. And that in itself could convince hiring managers that you're different and that you create an opportunity for yourself. I have a lot of clients, like one of my clients, Heath, who got into one of the top gaming companies in Europe. He created opportunities for himself. He launched his own Apple app. It got featured on the Apple Store. And he taught himself how to build it. So my thoughts are, what could be stopping you? And you can get someone to help you with that. You can find people who share that interest. I would not have been able to grow my career coaching if it wasn't for people who believed in me and supported me, especially at the beginning. Friends who liked my posts, friends who spread the word about me. I think the big mistake that we make is we think our idea is dumb at the beginning, and we don't involve people in it. And that's what makes it stall. But you'd be surprised at how many people are going to believe in you. And sometimes that's all we need. And it can grow into something bigger. I bet you have at least 2 or 3 friends out there who would show up and help you. And
Yeah.
maybe they already are. And you could get them into this idea, and get more momentum to that website to
Yeah.
create more visibility.
Yeah, it's true. I've had strangers see me doing just regular research out on the water, and then I do a cleanup of that area that I'm working in, and I'll have a big trash bag, and they'll be like, "Who are you working with? Like, what like organization is this?" So I was like, "Oh, it's just me. I was here, so I did
Change
this."
that, build a
Yeah,
brand around it.
yeah,
Call it some kind of organization, right?
yeah,
Create a group and
yeah,
get more people to join the group. Leverage LinkedIn to write posts about this initiative. Tell stories around what is it that you find. Share data and statistics, environmental statistics, right? I think if you focus more on that versus worrying too much about whether you're going to make money, I mean, sure, we all have to worry about that, but that shouldn't be the primary focus. When someone asks you why you want to do this, it can't be because I want to be remote and because I need a way to sustain and all of that. You got to just talk more about what you're passionate about, and you got to dedicate time for it, because it's not going to happen if you don't, right?
yeah,
And you got Eric too, who's saying to you that you can reach out to him and that he
Oh,
tutors in web design on the side. So there you go. You've already made a friend just by attending my
okay.
live.
I'd like you both.
But yeah, for real, I think what's going on is you've learned all these things, but recruiters are not seeing how you're able to implement them. So you need to find something that you can get lost in, that you're super passionate about, and just demonstrate that knowledge. Like for me, how do I demonstrate my knowledge to people? I do these lives, right? One, because I enjoy them. If I didn't enjoy them, I wouldn't be consistent. I wouldn't show up. I wouldn't do them. So if you are passionate about environment and you want to be outside more, combine those passions and demonstrate it so that it's visible to recruiters. Put it as part of your portfolio. Have a website. Put it on your LinkedIn in your features section so that they can go in and see that. And most people are going to hire you when they see that you're passionate about what you do, right? So
Yeah.
that's what I would recommend.
Okay.
Awesome. Helpful?
Yeah, definitely.
Very good. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
All right. Let's see who's next. Abby, you're next. I'm bringing you on stage. Okay. Can you hear me? Abhi? You got to unmute, my friend. Unless you're not around.
Yes.
Okay, there you go.
Just trying to figure out where the unmute button is.
All good, all good. Okay, and hey, as you can see, everyone, you can come on this podcast and you don't have to put your camera on, right? You can do whatever you want. So for those of you who are shy, that's an alternative. Not that I'm saying that Abby is shy. Sometimes people just don't want, others to, that they're connected to see them. All right. Why don't you share with us what is your goal or where do you feel you're stuck so that we can help?
Uh, at this stage, I don't feel stuck as much as I feel like I need to uh, maybe build on things that uh, I've been more of a very generic jack of all trades kind of a person,
I
and I
hear
think
you.
I want to build that niche going forward because I think in the long run that's what pays out. And as you said previously, right, like having a passion or having
Mm,
a clear idea about where you're heading is key. And I think that's where I'm at. I think I'm trying to figure that out.
I hear you. So it sounds like you're a generalist.
Mhm.
You've been around in multiple organizations.
Yep.
You've tried different things, and you can and feel free to be more specific if you feel comfortable.
Mhm.
And it sounds like you just don't know what that next thing is, right? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, yes. And to put more context to it, a lot of times you do have goals, you do have a clear idea about where you're heading, but then life happens, and not everything is goes as planned. You have to take some steps to balance responsibilities. You have to take some decisions to maximize profitability, and I think that's what has happened. And over the years, I feel that. Though I have been on a constantly on the right path, I still feel that I could definitely do better with, if I focused more on specific areas, and I probably just want to identify that.
What's making you stay where you're at? What do you think it is?
Uh, I love my job. I love the fact that I can talk to people, face the kind of different problems that they face without having to be in their shoes. They share their problems with me. I get to build solutions on top of that. I I get to work with different types of uh, teams within my organization as well. So
Mm,
that's a very enriching experience, and I
okay.
love that.
So it
So
sounds like everything is good on paper. So what's making you want more?
I think it's the long term. It's when I come to think about what happens long term, especially in the AI age.
Hmm.
Uh, that's where I feel that I need to buckle up and start working for it. And if I start working now, maybe in the next 3, 4, 5 years, I would be in a position where I would have built that niche for myself.
Okay. So is it growth that you're craving?
Yes, long-term sustainable growth. I feel that in my current role, or in the kind of job that I do, I can have growth, but it may not be predictable always. And maybe the fact that I want to be in a more sure shot uh, trajectory for something that aligns with my past but as well as my future is what I want to do. And and it may be coming like I'm all over the place, but hear me out. Like in the past 8 years, I have done 4 different jobs. uh, I know that I've done the same thing throughout, but when someone else sees my profile, they would see 4 different products or 4 different teams that I work with.
Okay.
And they may not understand how my work has been more or less the same, that is, talking to people, listening to their problems, and solving them, because the titles were different in all those roles. So I want to be able to depict that as a specialization going forward. And I think
Mhm.
that I'm not able to establish that at this point.
Got it. So,
Mhm.
regardless of those titles and roles that you've held in different organizations, what makes you different? What is your superpower? Your personal quality? Is it about advocating for the customer? What is it?
A mix of both, I would say. I think my best skill would be to get into a problem, try to understand, what makes that problem tick, get to the bottom of it, and work out a solution that can help. And I think that is the strength that I bring in.
Mm.
And again, the tools, the technology are all interchangeable. But yeah, I think irrespective of
So, if
that, the
there were
problem.
five people who
Mhm.
branded themselves as great problem solvers, who could
Right.
get to the root cause of the problem within minutes,
Uh-huh.
out of those five people, why do you think someone should pick you?
Hmm. I'll need to know who those 5 people are. Just kidding. But if I have to say, I think I would stand out on the empathy factor. I would be able to. I try to see things objectively in the bigger picture rather than getting obsessed about the smaller nitty gritties. I think that's where I'd stand out. I see a lot of people miss out on that.
How does that help organizations?
That helps organizations, especially in my setting, because a lot of times you'd see clients coming up and say that we want to establish a XYZ kind of a setup, or we want to add AI to our technology stack or something like that. They try to come with solutions, or they say that, okay, fine, XYZ is missing. But where I come in is I am able to uncover what their business objectives are, and uh, then help understand whether the solutions that they're chasing would align with those business objectives or not. So and it's very natural. I'm not throwing shade on people that I work with or something like that, but it's just that a lot of times it's very easy to get too involved with the nitty gritties and the tactical aspects, while losing sight of the strategy and the strategical outcomes. And I think I'm able to build on top of that because of my analysis skills, my ability to ask the right questions at the right time, and as I said, the empathy and the analytical bit helps me with that.
Well, my friend, I think you need to practice what you preach in your job search and your branding,
Hmm.
because you're talking to me about how, I get clients to move away from the nitty gritty and the tactical things, and I get them to focus more on the relationship building and creating those synergies. But then you're talking to me about how you want to get into AI. Does it even matter? I mean, I'll tell you something. Everyone I talk to, probably one out of three people I talk to, literally tell me that they want to get into AI or they want to be in AI. The truth is, we don't have a choice. We're all going to be working with AI. I mean, heck, I
Exactly.
am starting to use AI too
Yeah.
to gather data insights in
Exactly.
all of my calls in order to see what people are frustrated with, in order to create my content, in order to strengthen my program, in order to ensure that I'm identifying people's gap. That's not what your strength is. That's a tactical thing. That is obviously a domain that you need to be comfortable with. That's not what's going to get a recruiter to choose you over five other people. They're going to choose you because of you, not because of whether you know AI better than someone else. Because
I
what
don't.
you're describing to me that differentiates you from other people, it seems to me like you have a way of
Mhm.
getting clients to like you,
Okay.
right? And that's what you need to focus on more in the branding. You need to share specific examples in your branding and in your messaging and in your conversations with recruiters on how you were in a situation where maybe your company would have lost a client hadn't it been for you. You need to show what exactly did you say that got that client to trust you,
Right.
and that's missing in your branding. And now, of course, I'm not going to share your LinkedIn to respect your privacy since you have your camera off and everything. But when I look at your LinkedIn, first of all, I'm seeing way too much information on the technicalities and the technical aspects. There's barely any descriptions under your positions for the last, I will say, maybe 5 to 6 years. There's barely anything, and you are missing money. You're leaving money on the table, especially from a LinkedIn. I'll tell you, everyone, hey, look, if you all want to improve your job search, stop overly obsessing about your resume and focus more on your LinkedIn profile, because your resume is not a traffic generator.
Right.
Even if you had the best resume on earth, chances are people might not see it. You're not going to be discoverable based on your resume. The action you take with the messaging on your resume is what makes you discoverable. One of the most common things is when people apply to job boards. But let's face it, I have friends in the recruitment industry who tell me how the back end looks like, and it's horrible. It's a nightmare. And it's disorganized. Recruiters don't even take off posts from job boards once they filled positions. Things are not automated in the back end. It's a complete mess. So depending on when you apply, your chances are very slim. Whereas LinkedIn, nowadays, recruiters actually would rather look for someone versus get an application. And if you boost the SEO in your LinkedIn, you're going to be more discoverable, and you're going to have people coming to you versus you hunting for people. And that is even better for you because you are in stealth mode. You don't want your employer to know that you're looking. And wouldn't it be wonderful if you had the right recruiters reading the messaging on your LinkedIn profile and being like, yes, that's exactly the type of person we need in our organization. We are dealing with high client turnover rate, and we need a strong relationship builder right now to improve our ability to retain customers. So if you had more of a narrative around that and a story, then that would be amazing. I'm not saying don't go for AI organizations, but I would say that is more of a bonus versus the central piece of your messaging. It's kind of like if I said, what I'm good at is helping you create an amazing resume, versus what I'm good at is really helping you create more awareness about yourself in order for you to identify the existing strengths that you already have so that you can find a job that's aligned with who you are. That's way more powerful than the former, right? My ability to see through people and be able to help them gain more awareness about who they are in themselves is way more powerful than me talking about, yeah, sure, I'm great at helping people with their resume, but that's not what I want to be known for. So that's my advice for you. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. Do you have questions?
Nope.
Amazing. All right. Thank you so much for joining us and taking time off from your day. I know that you're super busy.
No problem.
Okay, Lola, you are next. I'm bringing you on stage. How are you, my dear? I'm so happy that we finally get to catch up.
Thank you, Nader. The day I found your post, I was like, yes, I think this girl is talking to me. I mean, every time I talk to you, I chat with you, I never stop saying how much the way you write actually always resonates with me. So thanks for this opportunity.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. So share with us how can we help? What would you like advice on? Ask me anything.
All right, so just a little bit background about me, So I used to work, I mean, I was in a contract with a consulting firm for about 10, 11 months, and the contract was over. And honestly, at the time, which was in October, I was thinking I was going to get another contract, another job the
A
following
blessing
month.
in disguise.
But this is January and I haven't found anything yet. Am I very discouraged? I mean, it's good to get something going, but I would
Mhm.
say this short time I'm getting to, know more about myself. I feel like that is a period of 360. Of course, I still need more help. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. I feel like I should also be having interview lineup. My background is business analyst or data analyst. That's the my previous role now. But I in the last few weeks, few months, I'm beginning to see that okay, I think I can actually take more roles like leadership positions, manager
That's
position,
awesome.
which I used to run away from. I was an introvert. Like I used to be that person that just want to be behind my desk. I feel I'm still am, but I'm feeling more empowered. So I just need more advice, more insight how to keep going forward.
You know, the saying "be careful what you wish for" is so true. And I'm not saying be careful in a negative way, but it's almost like um, be careful as in a sarcastic, joking way, because you get exactly what you need. That's what the universe does. And sometimes we're too scared to take action on those things. And then we just get that push. We speak our thoughts out loud, and we're like, oh, I wish I could, get this opportunity instead, or I wish I could leave. But we go back to our whole old habits and our comfort zone. We don't take action on that. And then the universe hears us and says, you know what? I'm going to make you leave now. It actually happened to me quite recently. I was part of a mastermind that I was in for a whole year, and I've been thinking, I don't know if I want to stay in this mastermind. I feel like I'm being stagnant. Maybe I should start my own thing. And then lo and behold, I get kicked out of that mastermind. And my friends are like, hey, you said you've been wanting to do it. So thank God you got kicked out. Right.
Mhm.
So you've been thinking about it. You've been thinking about, hey, I could do more, but let me just stay because, I'm getting money and I'm getting paid. And so the universe answered your prayers. And now it feels a little bit uncomfortable, but it's also a great opportunity. Okay, so you're stuck in terms of how do I get that next step,
Yes.
right? So help me understand. You said business analysis, you said data analyst, but let's take away those titles aside. What do you feel you enjoy doing the most? Like what was one of your favorite projects that you've ever worked on?
Oops. Okay, so I feel like a lot of the projects that I've actually worked on voluntary basis, I've
Yes.
actually enjoyed them more compared to what I would do in my daily life. I mean, I mean, I like my job or my previous role. I've loved some parts from the
Mhm.
role, just not the overall. But one area like I've volunteered with a different aspect. The first was working as a project management volunteer, helping kids between 8 and 16 in a vulnerable environment, just building their leadership skills. That was a few years back. I love doing that. And another one was a few years ago. I was part of a team helping minority women establish their businesses. I love that as well.
Mm-hmm.
My daily job has been business analysis, data analysis, and some major parts that I would really like in all this role. They could just be maybe 20% of the job is the area of maybe researching, marketing, gathering key information. I
Mm.
love that. And maybe that's, I could sometimes I could say that is part of my strength. So we've had issues, maybe we encounter some issues at work and just a bottleneck to move forward. It could just be something tiny and I would somehow find it. Like I could mention like 3 4 instances in my last project. It could just be getting a contact, personal contact of a particular client that decided to delete themselves away from everything that we've had. Numbers are not working. I don't know, somehow I always get I got that information. It looks tiny, but at the time at work it made a massive difference, or just some information. And honestly, when I do that, I feel so um it could not just be, my daily job, but that part of me, I love doing that. And also in my daily life, I'm always that friend or partner that is always gathering resources for every person. And so, I mean, it's just everywhere. But yeah, I don't know if I'm
It
making
makes
sense.
sense to me. It makes sense to me. So here's a question for you. Do you enjoy working with the customer more? Do you enjoy spending more time with the customer, or do you enjoy spending more time with the people who are doing the implementation as part of the team?
I prefer spending time with the people doing the implementation as part of the team.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay. And do you love solving, problems that are related to the product, or do you love solving problems related to the way the team works?
Related to the product.
Okay. Good. So here are my thoughts. You could, I think you love data as well, right?
Yes, I do.
Yes. So I'm thinking maybe look into data product manager,
Okay.
maybe look at product owner. As a product owner, you're very close to the team. To me, the product owner, product manager can vary from one company to company. They're very interchangeable. But the reason I'm saying look into these roles, because you said to me that you love researching, you love understanding what the customer wants. But it also sounds to me that you want to be close to the implementation, close to the people who are implementing. You're a very good coach. Based on what you've shared with me, you love helping people learn. Okay. So there is a little bit of that. I see you as someone who is more of a team lead, and what are roles that allow us to play more of a team lead role. Product owner, product manager, you're solving basically product problems, and you're working closely with the team to make that happen. And I would look for products, the components of the products that are very data driven. That's what I would look into. And I would really make sure that my branding speaks to that. Dive deeper, give examples of case studies of projects or pieces of the product that you worked on, and what exactly was the big issue with that product, and how did you use data to solve it? How did you work with the team to solve these problems? What differentiates a leader from someone who's a doer is the way you're going to portray how you coached the team and help them work together in order to make this happen. So make sure that you also talk about that, because when I look at your branding, you talk about how you developed and implemented a new data analytics platform. as the hook. But I'm not seeing that you worked with the team to do that, or that you mentored the team or coached them to do that. And so that's the missing piece of the puzzle for you. If you position it that way, then people are going to see you a leader. But if you take full ownership or only talk about the things that you owned and did, then people are going to see you as a doer. That's the big difference.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Awesome. And you and I can connect offline as well in order to dig deeper into it. But that's my 2 cents for now.
Thank you. Thank you
You're
so much.
welcome. You're welcome. All right. We got one more person. There we are. And it's Enio.
Hi, Nada.
Ano or Enio? Enio?
Either is fine. No issues.
Well, correct me because I want to make sure I'm saying your name right.
It's Anil.
Enio. Okay, cool. So tell us, how can we help?
Okay, so actually you've touched upon the topic that I'm interested in with some of your previous guests, and it really concerns my ongoing search for a new position. So I've kind of been, I would say, trying to find a new position for the last year or so. I think over 100 applications, 99% rejections, and they usually, within a day or within a week, there's a rejection email coming in. So I mean, I've kind of tried a number of things, tweaked my CV and covering letters, and even had a look at my LinkedIn profile. But yeah, I'm kind of, to be honest, at a loss because I've spoken with a few people who've given me feedback, whether it's recruiters or just friends and colleagues, just to give me some perspective as to what stands out as either odd or incorrect and so on. So I've kind of tried everything and still no success. And I think I've only had 2 or 3 interviews out of those 100 applications. So yeah, I'm kind of wondering what to do next. And the jobs that I'm applying for, they're not as if I'm not suitable. I mean, the vast majority of those roles, they're more or less I would be a shoo-in. But then on the other hand, I'm kind of also thinking, well, is it my age? Is it I'm too experienced? Those could be other factors that I probably need to take in rather than just say, oh, why am I being rejected? Is it?
I
is it the seat?
understand. Okay, cool. I'll ask you a few questions just to help me to diagnose better because I'd hate to not get to, mislead you, right?
Sure.
My big question for you is what is your North Star? What is it that you want to get into? Because that's not clear to me from your LinkedIn profile.
Okay, that's actually very good that you've asked that question. So, I mean, I've been in IT predominantly for the last, I'd say, 20 odd years, give or take 1 or 2 years here and there. And that's kind of straight out of uni. I mean, the first role I landed was in IT, and I've kind of stayed within IT. First more as an IT administrator, IT manager, more on the hardware side. Then I got into a company that specialized in software, enterprise software. So I was kind of, I wasn't a developer as such. I didn't do any coding. I did have kind of limited coding experience in the past, and that's going back 20 odd years. So I won't really count that as real coding experience. But I've mainly been in customer facing roles. I think that's the way to place myself. And as much as I've enjoyed working with customers, I've kind of got fed up with IT. If I can, I think my passion for being in IT is gone. Although I love working with customers, I'm very much a people person, and place me in front of any individual, and I can talk till the cows come home. So, I'm good at building relationships, building rapport, but I think working around IT is not the what's the word I'm looking for?
It's not
probably
fulfilling.
Yeah, I would probably say so. Yeah, I've kind of lost the passion just for the IT, being within IT itself. I know there's a lot of change happening now, especially with AI and so on. It's probably for many, it's a great time to get into it. I'm probably on the flip side, kind of wanting to get out of IT and do something different, but still engaging with customers and in some capacity. And so to answer your question, and I'm kind of getting to your question, the North Star. So a few years ago, I kind of started to learn how to trade online. So whether it's futures, forex, and so on. And that's more for kind of my own personal interest because I love looking at data. I love looking at charts, graphs, and stuff. So this was like a personal pet project, personal passion of mine to learn about that side of things. So I kind of did that, and I do bits and pieces here and there on the side. But ideally, I would like to get into the financial industry. I don't have the qualifications as such, like hardcore finance professionals, but something along those lines and still working with people is something where I think I'm leaning towards, or I'm gradually transitioning out of IT into something that covers the trading kind of requirements as such, and really helping customers with their investments, giving them ideas about how to manage and preserve or grow their wealth. I would say I think that's where I'm kind of leaning towards. I've had some bad experiences with financial advisors, messing me around and stuff. So I think I bring a lot to the table in terms of personal experiences which haven't worked. So I can kind of I can give good guidance as to what not to do based on what I've learned, the bad experiences, and I think guide individuals in how to better manage their finances, or just help them grow their wealth. And so there are things like that kind of are on the back of mine, and I think that's where I'm wanting to go. But whether I can switch directly from the IT world that I'm in right now into a finance, whether that's possible now, I'm not sure. Whether I need to find a stepping stone to go from where I am into somewhere kind of halfway, and then to that side of the world. If I can, if that makes sense.
That makes complete sense. And so what is like, if nothing was standing in your way and you were able to get into the financial services industry, what's the dream role that you wish you could spend all of your time on?
I would say something like an investment advisor.
Okay.
So, I mean, I do.
What's holding you back from doing that?
I guess I don't have real hardcore financial qualifications as such, and it's probably going to take time to gain those kind of qualifications. The qualifications I do have are more around certificates around how to trade options, how to trade forex, but they're not really professional. I don't have the skills that one would have, say, working in a financial institution, and I know those are very tough to get into. But again,
What's your current competency in the IT world? Let's start with, who do you report to right now in your current role?
So in my current role, I work for an IT startup.
Okay.
And it's a company that's we have offices. I say they, actually I'm working with them. So we have offices in US, Dubai, and India. But the Dubai and the London offices, they're kind of small, kind of 1-2 person offices. So they're more like satellite offices, but the base is in India. So I'm kind of heading up the Dubai office and kind of working as a business development. I think that's a better profile of what I'm doing, trying to generate business. We haven't really had much success over the first year, and usually the first year is always tough to trying to get any business in a startup kind of role. But but I think my passion is kind of dwindled because I don't find it as interesting as I would perhaps being in finance. And I kind of always find myself looking over the shoulder to see, what's happening in the trading world, how the market's moving, what's Jerome Powell saying today, and those kind of things. So I kind of find myself drifting away from IT and always kind of looking at what's going on.
Okay, so here are a few suggestions that are very pragmatic. And Eric, thank you for some of the ideas that you've shared in terms of working on a trading software. That could be a great segue. And I agree to some extent. I would say, and I say to some extent, because what I'm hearing is you don't want to be involved in the nitty gritty of the technical stuff, but you can still see right now, you gotta use what you built credibility and authority around. What I'm hearing is I haven't built credibility and authority around me being actually a financial services advisor. And so, but I've built a lot of credibility and authority around me either building relationships on IT projects, or being part of software implementations. So all we need to do is take that role and move it right to the financial services industry, because financial advisors are not going to have the technical competencies to necessarily understand what the technical folks say and translate it to the business, right? And you have that. And so why not use that to get closer to that domain, build relationships, build your subject matter expertise so that you can transition into that role. But you need a lily pad to get there. And what I'm hearing is it's becoming like a chicken and the egg, right? So that's what I would consider doing.
Okay.
You can be a product owner, you can be an engagement lead, and you can choose roles that are not going to get you too close to dealing with all of the nitty-gritty of tech, and more around building the relationships with the folks in the financial services industry, the stakeholders, right? Sitting close to the financial advisors and understanding their requirements. And therefore, that will enable you to build your mastery. I mean, I was in the financial services world. I knew nothing about trading or any of that. I was on a trading program, and I learned a lot just by having conversations with advisors and understanding how their business processes work and what they do. And if you're understanding their process and their workflow and their day-to-day, and also building those relationships, then that could be your in, right? So I would start there. But the thing that people sometimes don't understand is they feel that if I do some magical wording on my resume and my LinkedIn profile, I'm going to get into the role. And that's not how it works. There is a level of you need to bring in an area of expertise that the organization doesn't have while you learn whatever it is that you want to learn from them. But learning everything and coming in, without that demonstrated, component is going to be tough. So we always have to find what is an area of expertise that I can bring in that can benefit them in order for them to trust me and pick me over someone else. And so I would start there, which is either product owner, engagement lead, some kind of role where you're still going to be part of a software implementation within financial services, but not go too deep where you're dealing with the technicality and the support issues or the back end, and more being closer to the business.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, that helps. I didn't really think of it along those lines, but that's definitely something I can look into.
Awesome. And then you can build a brand around it. And then we can also talk offline if you need help with that.
Sure.
We can definitely do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Amazing. Thank you so much. All right, everyone. It's been nice, chatting with you all. And if you want to be a guest, feel free to send me a DM. You can see it's not scary, There's nothing to prepare. I just ask you questions. The whole point is you get help on an area that you feel stuck in or struggling with, or just need some advice to get more traction in order to achieve your goal, because that's what coaching is about, right? And if you watch this and you want to work with me at a closer level, at a deeper level to achieve your goals, feel free to DM me as well and we can chat. All right, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and thank you for tuning in.